So the 2010 season for Dodge Viper Cup is now in the record books. Over 16 drivers have distinguished themselves as professionals to make this series one of the most watched in North America. All of these drivers are unique in their own right, but one thing they share in common is a distinct passion for the Dodge Viper. Well, we've been all over North America with this program, and the championship stayed tight right till the end. In fact, we've had some of the best racing this series anybody's seen in 2010. All we have to look forward to now is the 2011 season. This is Dodge Viper Cup.
On the edges of Death Valley National Park lies Pahrump, Nevada. And in Pahrump lies Spring Mountain Motorsports Ranch, a new circuit that provides its own extreme challenges. Hi everybody, welcome to the final round of the Dodge Viper Cup. I'm Greg Kramer. Let's get right to your starting lineup. On pole for the first time, Ralph Gilles with Tanner Faust alongside, Ryan Shims, your new champion, and Ben Keating, his challenger throughout the year. Jeff Courtney and the ever-quick Keith Verges fill out row number 3. We go to row 4, it's Mike Von Quillick and Michael Zwiebach. We go to row number 5, and you'll find Kurt Solberger and Jim Stout, one of 3 drivers here who can end the year finishing in the top 10 in every round. Eric Galerin and Connie Bogan, who's another of those drivers, fill out row 6, and then row 7 is Dave Mazik. The other guy who could do it is the champ, and that, of course, is Ryan Shims. We're ready for the green. When those red lights go out, you see the green at the back of the field, meaning the grid is clear. We're ready to start this final round of the championship. There we go! There's Gilles in the black car, but what a start by Tanner Faust, that Red Viper on the outside. Can he make the, yes, he closes the door. That was an unbelievable launch by Faust.
Ralph Gilles started off on the wrong side of the track for him, so maybe a bit of a traction problem, but he's also got his mirrors full of these two guys who have been on each other's case all year long.
It has been a great battle between Shims, looking back at his challenger, as I said, Ben Keating. They have been at war all season long in so many different ways. Meanwhile, there is Keating, and he has got himself some pressure as well, of course, in the early going here. Here we go, through one of my favorite parts of this track, the 3-4 complex. As you're turning, you're braking, you're downshifting. It is a tightrope walk, and they do it beautifully. Faust leads out.
You can see some of these nuances of track design here as we start to get around here. You know, they lay out a circuit in the middle of the desert, and then they work it for a little while. And as you can see, here's one of the places where the apex curbing really doesn't mean much. They tend to go past it and beyond it. It's one of those things that make this circuit really unbelievable.
And plenty of runoff, that's the other side of it, so you can push the envelope just a little bit. And in these Vipers, one thing you want to do with these amazing ACR-X machines, you just want to gas it all the time.
Well, absolutely. You want to use all that 650 horsepower that's under your right foot there. And Spring Mountain Raceway has several places where you can execute that. And that makes this track a favorite of this driver, Ryan Shims.
Without a doubt, sitting in third right now, but you can see Keating is definitely keeping the pressure on. Ralph Gilles dropping a tire here and there. As we talked about, using every ounce of this track and more on occasion. And once again, riding with Ben Keating, looking back at his pursuers at this point. Some awfully good racing going on a little bit further back in the pack as well. And here we sit now with Keith Verges dropping back a couple of spots, sitting in 6th.
You know, Keith Verges has an opportunity to finish in the top 3 of the championship, so I imagine he's being just a tiny bit conservative right up until that moment where he runs up under the back bumper of the 99 car. That's Jeff Courtney.
Lots of great racing. That's the battle for 5th, obviously. Verges sitting in 6th, Courtney in front of him right there, holding down that spot. And here we go, new section of track. This is what they call the bus stop, and it extended the length. This section and the S's extended it from 3.1 to 3.3 miles in duration, and it certainly makes challenges. And of course, one of the things you don't often hear about a racetrack is there are spots in this one you need patience. Tanner Faust leads, Gilles and Shims. We'll be back. A beautiful image as backlit clouds and their shadows highlight and drape the sheep range, and then you roll down the mountainside. There lies Spring Mountain Motorsports Ranch, where the final round of the Dodge Viper Cup is under contest, the 10th round. And one of the best contests on the track is this one for 8th. Eric Galern, that green Viper, comes in 7th in the points, and right behind him, and a great performance by Mike Zwieback in that white Viper, and only his second start in the series.
You know, he started here at the last round at this beautiful racetrack and did a fantastic job of that number 53 car, and of course proudly carrying that pink ribbon on the front of his car. It's so important to support breast cancer during the month of October, and of course this is when this race ran.
Yeah, absolutely. The fight against this disease is on everybody's mind. It's something they all support, but right now Zwieback is throwing everything at trying to get around that green Viper. We hop on board with Kurt Solberger, and up front that was Zwieback running wide, and Jim Stout checked up, and Solberger just got into the back of him hard. Looks like everybody's going to be able to continue. The question is, will Zwieback? Yes, he's back and underway. We talk about that breast cancer logo. You know, this sport and this series is certainly about cars and competition, but as Tom Antonelli on the board of directors of the North American Road Racing Association tells us, it's also about just good company.
All racers come to race their cars, but half of that is the camaraderie and the family environment with North America Road Racing, Viper Days, Dodge Viper Cup. It is a huge family. The Dodge community, the Viper community all came together this month. During our banquet and awards ceremony last night, we were able to raise $18,000 for breast cancer, and it's that family atmosphere that we strive to do. You know, anybody can show up with a high-performance car or a street car. We have a DE, or driver education. We also have a wheel-to-wheel race group, and then we have the Dodge Viper Cup. So we have a fit for everybody. We're really looking forward and striving to build this series into being one of the best series in the country.
Well, I certainly don't think you can fault the plan, and you certainly can't fault the competition. I mean, look at this. You got Tanner Faust, a guest driver, leading Ralph Schills, one of the representatives of this series in so many different ways, and then you've got the champ, Ryan Shims, all over the back, running in 3rd at this point. That's good competition.
Pretty good shot of those guys using all the track and a little bit more, too, as that number 33 car of Ben Keating never fails. As we see them starting to spread out just a little bit and using all of the track, Ryan Shims just slightly conservative here as he starts to look at the back of Ralph Shield.
There is Ralph. We hop on board with Ralph, and he looks back now. That's the camera angle back to Ryan Shims. That's your margin, 2nd to 3rd right now. I'll tell you what, Ralph has given this thing a serious ride, but as I say that, just a little bit hot going in there. Might even hurt a little bit of a brake lock up, and that car skated on him just a little bit. Nice save.
Really nice save by Ralph, and he's been racing in the proximity of, as we see him go a little bit wide again, racing in the proximity of Ryan Shims for quite some time, so he's used to this as they go through that slight elevation change. Ryan Shims starting to smell blood in the water now, mate.
Boy, he is hunting to be sure. Here we go, Shims showing the nose. Schills covers it at this point, but it doesn't get much closer than this. Here we go, hard on the brakes. And Schill again misses the apex just a little bit. Shims jumps on the opportunity and slices through, and that may have been, once he got off that line just a little bit, about 4 corners back, gets you off your rhythm. You can't find it again. Best thing he can do now is follow Shims, who's got that rhythm, follow him around a little bit, get back on line. Then we'll see what happens.
Ryan Shims has cottoned on to single make racing here. He knows that he's got more or less within a 1 or 2% of exactly what Ralph's got. So he knows when to stick his nose in there and take advantage. And the other thing is that Ralph knows it too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you saw right there Ralph in that last onboard shot really cut into that corner hard, and it worked. The problem is this cut and thrust between these two has allowed Tanner Faust to open his margin up in the lead. A lot more to come.